Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to episode 3 of It's Fine, Everything's Fine. I cannot believe we are already on episode 3. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's the consistency for me. Like, we are
It's giving consistency.
yes, I'm feeling it. I'm Amani.
I'm Deja.
And today, for the 10th freaking time, we're talking about types, your relationship track records, and what you think your ideal husband's characteristics would be. We're not going to get into wives because there's not a guy here to...
Although that would be very interesting one day.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We got to find somebody first. We'll get
find
there.
a male candidate.
Ciao. We'll get there. But, all that being said, let's get into this freaking video for the 100th time at this point.
Honestly, at this point.
What is your type? Because you're going to say you don't got a type, but you got a type. So go ahead and tell me what your type is. I know her type, but she's going to tell you guys her type. You like that?
I was really aggressive. But it was funny. Because it's like we've done it so.
Okay,
I'm
story
sorry.
time. We have done this episode. We've been doing this episode since like 7 o'clock. 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock.
8, yeah.
We filmed it once. The freaking battery on my phone started to die. Filmed it again. My storage is full. Tried to film it on an iPad. The iPad's not working. Can't do it on a laptop. Don't have this. Can't do that. Blah, 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 blah.
Technology sucks.
Girl,
Technology sucks.
when I tell you I've had to It's Fine, Everything's Fine my way through this night. Ugh.
It's been a test. It's been a test. It's been a test. For sure.
Like,
So, it's been a test.
the devil been playing.
Oh, he been working
The
overtime.
devil been playing.
Working overtime.
And we done had to, you know,
Nug a little bit, but it's okay. We're here now.
get it together.
We're here now.
We're here. We're gonna keep on
But-
keeping on. Go on with this video. Please tell the people your type.
So, my track record shows that I have. No, don't kick.
Hey,
Don't chuckle.
at this point,
Um,
I'll laugh at anything.
Yeah, honestly,
At this
point, I'll
laugh at anything.
because I think it's like delirium. But you're fine, girl. So yeah, I mean, track record. Looking back at my past and the people that I've dated, physically, looking at a physical standpoint, men that are typically 6 and above, 6 feet tall and above, which of
6
course
years old and above.
I know I had to specify 6 feet tall, and physically fit, typically stays in the gym, some gym rats, but also just very much so like very conscious and aware of their appearance. Like they keep themselves up. They go to the barbershop when they need to go to the barbershop and the hair gets a little crazy, whatever. No ragamuffins around here.
Pickaninnies.
Yeah, no pickaninnies.
Jigaboo.
I
I don't think jigaboo. We don't want no jigaboos either, but I don't think that's the right. We don't want no jigaboos either. Let's be clear.
Oh, no.
Let's just be clear.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know about that one, but yeah, pickaninnies, yes. Because I take a lot of pride in how I look and taking care of myself, self-care. I go and get my hair done, my nails done, whatever. I make sure that I keep myself up, so I expect my mans to do the same.
Speaking of hair, y'all, don't her hair look so nice?
Done by the
Who did-
infamous.
Who did you? Not
Amani
the
Hendrix.
infamous.
Well, I was gonna.
I thought
I should have said
Infamous-
I should have said Notorious. I'm sorry.
Because I thought infamous is bad.
I know. I'm sorry. I meant to say Notorious. Notorious Amani Hendrix.
I don't know that Notorious is better. What is
Well,
Notorious?
what do you want?
I don't know.
Amani Hendrix. She
Hey,
did
Siri.
my hair. She did my hair. Jeez.
Hey
She
Siri.
didn't like Infamous. She didn't like Notorious. So
What does Notorious mean?
Notorious is like big. Notorious is like known, like widely known. That's what Notorious is.
Notorious means famous or well known, typically for some bad quality or deed.
Damn,
I can't win.
bro.
I can't win.
Just
You
don't-
guys knew what I meant. You guys
Just don't
knew what I
describe
meant.
me ever again to anybody, cause
That was awful. Siri just told her behind. She really did. She just threw me under the bus.
Oh my gosh.
She threw me under the bus.
Damn. So I'm
But you know
infamous
Notorious
and
B.I.G.?
Notorious. And that's what I was thinking. Apparently they
Like, Notorious. Yeah, people,
But
come on, you guys know what I'm talking about.
apparently Notorious was calling himself some bad things.
Whatever. He did some bad things. But yeah, whatever.
But
anyway,
that's the definition. Famous
But
for
it's-
doing bad things.
Money did my hair. She did my hair, guys. So if you ever hit her up, DM her. DM her. Now.
I don't.
Right now.
I don't want it.
Right now. Look at that.
I don't want it.
Look at that. Look at that. She did that. DM her now. Flood her DMs. Book appointments. She's taking appointments now.
Back to the freaking video.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, upkeep.
See, look at
upkeep.
you.
Upkeep. Just making sure that you hold yourself, nicely. Obviously, you take care of yourself. Just take care of yourself.
It's important.
Just
Teeth are important.
Teeth are very important.
Even if your teeth aren't perfect, we're not saying your teeth have to be perfect. Just take care of them.
Take care of your body. You only have one. Like, take care of it. Take care of it. Nurture it. Do what you gotta do. Whatever. But we were joking about how I wouldn't say I went from one end of the spectrum to the other, but that's kind of what it is.
100%.
So it's I'm either what's known or what has been again track record. I would be talking to guys that are light skin with shortcuts or darker men with dreadlocks. It's a thing. So that's just kind of what
It is a thing.
that's just the track record, I guess, that I had. So, but obviously that's not the end all be all, of course. And, but that's just kind of what it is. I mean, that's initially kind of what attracts me to you. And then obviously, fun personality and everything else in between, because that stuff matters more than anything else. I mean, down to it. You can be the most beautiful thing in the world. And if your personality is garbage, there's no substance, there's just nothing we can do. So there's nothing we can work with. So definitely those attributes are something that I've kind of noticed, but they're bound to change because not working for me so far. So, what about you?
I don't feel like I have a type,
Yeah.
honestly. I know you don't believe me, but
No, I do at this point. I do at this point.
I've convinced her. Because I feel okay, so I know when people say, I don't have a type, it's just yes, you do, shut up. But seriously, I don't have a type, and here is why. I feel in my adult life, I've only been in one long-term relationship, and then as a teenager, I was only in one other one. So, I mean, guys like you, and whatever, you talk to guys here and there. As far as actual relationships go, I haven't been in that many. And so I feel as an adult, to that point, I have not dated and gone out and, experimented and all that stuff. And not to say that you have to do that, but I think to some degree you have to date to understand what your type is, or if you have one. So I can't definitively say, oh yeah, I have a type, because I ain't dated that many people. I don't know.
Right. And you have to have that experience to know what you like and what you don't like out of those people that you date.
Yeah.
So you really get that exposure.
I will say though, honestly, just with my two long-standing relationships, I know exactly what I like and don't like.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I like and don't like, and that's just what that is. It's been enough of everything. It's been a lot. So
Yeah.
I know exactly what I like and what I don't like, and if I was to be in another relationship at some point, I know exactly what I do and don't want, what I expect, all of those good things, because you can go through a lot in a long period of time. You go through a lot with people. My first relationship that my mother acknowledged. There was another person kind of sprinkled in there in high school, but again, it's high school, so it's kind of does it really count? No, not really. The first relationship that my mother actually acknowledged and facilitated, I broke up with him because I felt like we were just two different people. He was a PK. He was a preacher's kid. And while he wasn't judgmental, I feel like there were just a lot of things that he didn't understand my perspective on because he grew up in a 2-parent household. He didn't have parents who were divorced. He didn't have to deal with certain things. He was one of the youngest in his, like, I think he had like 3 brothers. He was a twin, and I think he was the baby out of all of them.
Oh, and he's the baby?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I just feel like there were certain things that I'm the oldest, and I'm the oldest girl. Even out of a blended family with all of my family members, I'm still one of the oldest girls. So I just felt like there were a lot of things that he really didn't understand my perspective on, and it made it hard for us to communicate about certain things because his perspective was so limited. Not to say that at that time my perspective was vast, but the reality is I grew up a little bit quicker. I matured a little bit quicker because of the different things that happened in my childhood. Not that I had a bad childhood by any stretch of the imagination, but life happens. Life be life, and when you're the oldest, certain things are just expected of you. And so I feel like we didn't work and wouldn't have worked long term just because we were young when we met, and that's just, it's great if you're able to grow together with people, but that's a lot of times not the case. When you meet people young,
you grow away from each other.
Right. It's hard to maintain that relationship as you get older because you go through so many changes as you're getting into adulthood. Yeah. So I don't know that we would have lasted anyway, but I was supposed to go to like Arizona for college.
I know. I remember like we talked about it.
Yeah. I was like, had I gone that route, my life would probably be completely different from what it is now. Not that I'm unhappy with my life or that life could have been better or worse or whatever. It just would have been very different.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But all that rambling to say, I don't feel like I have a type simply because I don't feel like I've dated enough to really be able to say definitively, yes, I have a type, or no, I don't, or this is the type of person that I typically go for. I don't want to say I'll talk to anybody, but if we vibe well, you somewhat handsome, you know, got a little something to you, a little charm, a little charisma, whatever. If we vibe, we just vibe, you know, and I feel like...
Yeah, and there's no look to that.
Yeah, I would say for me, I feel like the physical attraction comes later. Shoot, my ex, when I met him, I wasn't necessarily attracted to my ex, but over time, I grew an attraction to him because we, you know...
those are the more genuine relationships, too. Those are more genuine.
I definitely think to be as young as we were, we did have a genuine relationship. I just think we were on 2 different pages after a while.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because I mean there was, you know, there are struggles that maybe he couldn't understand that you had, and vice versa. So it's just like
that boy ain't struggling.
It's hard. He may have his own.
I'm kidding. Totally. Girl, look.
That comes with its own.
I was about to say, I'm totally.
That comes with its own.
I'm totally kidding.
But you know, challenges and things like that, especially growing up in that kind of household, because he's probably set to a very high standard.
That was another thing I felt like when I went into the church, because I would go down there for like the weekend. They had a family friend that I would stay with, and so I would spend the weekends there. When I would go to that church, like, church folks are crazy because I used to have people like turn their noses up at me and act funny because, again, his dad was the pastor. So I know a lot of people in the church probably wanted their kid to be with the pastor's kid. Like,
so who was he supposed to be with? Let them tell it.
Not me, apparently.
What was it about you?
One of their daughters. I don't know. I feel like a lot of it is just perception. And while I was never, like, I was raised with sense. So I was always respectful and I was always, you know.
Of course.
But I was a curvy girl. Even in high school, I've always had a shape. I've always, you know, carried myself, I think, more maturely. And I feel like that was part of it. I think part of it was just, who is this girl and why are you dating her?
Right.
Like, I think it was a combination of things, but I don't think it had anything to actually do with me. I think it was a lot of it was just perception, because if you know me.
Right, exactly.
Like, it's not, I'm a decent person, I feel like. I don't really know what I could have done to them at 16, but whatever.
Yeah. But you could feel it.
Yeah, I definitely, because even, but I'll never forget, we talked, this was years ago, mind you, but shortly after we broke up or whatever, we still, like, maintained some semblance of a friendship. At one point, he wanted to get back together. It wasn't gonna happen. But I remember he made a comment, like, so many people would be so mad if we got back together.
Really?
I remember he said that to me.
Yeah.
And that was one reason, that was another thing that turned me off from like, oh yeah, no, I'll never go back to this, because that would be so uncomfortable for me.
I was gonna say, and you're okay with putting me in
Right. And I don't think that it would
situations.
have anything to do with him.
But the fact that he
But-
knows that.
Exactly. You know it. So you already know people will be looking crazy and turning their
Mhm.
noses up at me and just different stuff. Like,
So it's like, well, if you really cared about me, why would you want me to be in that situation?
I don't know though. Another thing though, I feel like, I don't want to say I feel like they tried to make me something I wasn't, but I almost felt they tried to shape me into what could have been a more acceptable version of myself per the standard that their church
For their
had
son.
for me. Because I remember one time his mom took me clothes shopping.
Yeah, you told me.
And it wasn't because I didn't have clothes, but I remember she emphasized, like, well, you need to get pants that are this size so they're not too tight.
Right.
And I feel like that's always been a thing for me. And we'll talk about this at some point. This is like a conversation about body shaming or something. Not that I've been body shamed, but I feel like it's always been a conversation. My shape and what I wear has always been an issue.
No, we definitely did have that because you have your own and I have mine.
Yeah,
as well, so we
like-
definitely did have that.
I feel like even in high school, how girls used to be able to wear like little pencil skirts and the little bodycon dresses and stuff, I would get dress coded every time I wore something even remotely close to that. So I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there's no point if I'm gonna get sent home because I'm inappropriate simply for having an ass. Pardon my language, but seriously, what's the point? But Becky can wear it and nobody says anything to her. But because I have a shape, there's something wrong with that, or it's inappropriate for me to wear this. And I feel like that was part of what it was for them too. They didn't want me to wear certain stuff because I had a shape. I'm like, I have no control over that.
Right.
I have no control over that. And that's a personal problem that you guys are sexualizing a 16-year-old
Mm-hmm.
and looking at her that way. Oh, this is inappropriate. This is going to make people feel uncomfortable. I'm wearing a sundress.
Right.
I'm wearing jeans.
Right.
I didn't even wear short skirts. Like, the stuff that I wore was not inappropriate. Because if you know my mother, if you know Mary Dean Shanae Rhodes, she is going to kill me for putting her government out there. But if you know my mother, she didn't play that. So you know I wasn't just out looking any kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
That was a tangent.
No, but it was. I mean, it's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
So,
it's valid.
There are multiple reasons why I, as an adult, would not be in that relationship again. Because A,
Yeah.
I'm not as timid and like quiet as I was then. There's no way half of that stuff would happen to me as an adult. There's
Right.
certain stuff you're not going to do to me as an
Right.
adult that as a teenager I was not smart enough to recognize were digs.
Yeah, but not
There's
only
no
that, but as a child, you learn to respect adult authority. So even if an adult is making you feel less than or inferior, or trying to basically insinuate something about you, you don't know any better than just to take it because they're an adult and you can't disrespect an adult, and you were always taught to respect your elders. So it's like, even though you want to pop Miss Shirley in the face, you can't. So
And I
get
really
it.
loved his mom. I loved his mom and I really admired her. So at the time, there was never a point where I was going to be like, she's doing this maliciously. And even to this day, I don't think that what she did was malicious, but I don't think that they realized how some of the stuff that they projected onto me came off and could have affected me as an adult if I didn't have a good parent at home who did not play that. Because some of that stuff, looking back, was hurtful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Especially over something that you can't control. I mean, men can wear whatever they want and not have any type of repercussions behind it. Women wear something even slightly revealing or, showing too much shoulder. Oh, too much shoulder.
You got a little bit too much curve. Like, it's a
then
problem.
it's a problem. So that's definitely, and then we need to talk about that too. I'll add that to the list.
Yeah.
Body shaming and things like that, and like the differences between sexes.
Yeah.
But
All that to say,
yeah,
I don't have a type.
yeah,
At least not right now.
yeah.
Sorry.
We did want to discuss the qualities and the attributes of a husband, and I know that.
Yeah, what makes a man husband material. So, you want to take the lead on that one, or you want me to take the lead on that one?
Yeah, I can. It's fresh on my brain, so I can go ahead and
Go for
try to get it out. But the biggest thing that I've even noticed in my long-term relationship that I've had, you know, I realized the things that I really needed more than others. Some things were lacking more than, you know, it was never an abusive relationship. It was never a hurtful relationship. He gave me the best love that he could within what he knew. You know, like he gave me, you know, on the outside looking in, you know, he gave me everything. But when you're growing with somebody, there are things that, you know, your partner may need more than others. And so though he was very much so present, though he, you know, provided for me, and even though he did all these things from the outside, it looked great, but I was lacking a lot of emotional support. I was lacking really encouragement in general. At the time I was in school, so it was hard. You know, like I debated quitting school on multiple occasions, and it was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so having someone to pick you up and say, no, you got this, keep pushing, keep going. I got you, don't worry. You know, having that support, having that encouragement, you know, and having it reciprocated. Like, if you have an idea of wanting to do something, and all right, cool, what can I do for you? Like, how can I support you? That kind of thing, you know, because as a partnership, we're supposed to help each other, lighten the load. Life is already hard, and I can do this life thing by myself and be single. Why would I do it by myself and deal with the load as a single individual and have a whole partner? Let's lighten the load for each of us, for the both of us. Like, let's make sure that we're both doing what we can do to make it easier, because life is already hard. So I feel like I was dealing with a lot of emotional neglect, and so that was a big thing for me. That was actually the biggest thing for me, actually. And you know, so that's very, very, very important, at least for me, specifically, like my personal issue with that, or my personal, what do you say, not preference, but I mean, it's really important to me.
So what are your top 5 characters, if you had
So I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
So like top 5, I definitely would be support in all aspects. Financial, not even necessarily financial, but obviously that helps.
That's part of it.
But it is part of it. But like emotional, just supporting me in all areas. Not being too good to clean, not being too good to wash dishes, not being too good to, you know, cook dinner. You cook dinner, I'll do dishes. You wash laundry, I'll fold it. Things like that. Like, just having that constant, like, you do this, I do that. Just like the quality. Like, not feeling like I gotta carry this amount of load because you don't want to do it. Especially now in this day and age, like, women are working just as much as men are. So, if not more. So you're too good to come home and cook dinner, but I'm supposed to, after working the same amount of hours you were working, or after doing the same thing that you were doing. Even moms. I don't have any children, but that's a full-time job in itself. But that's a topic for another day. But just making sure that your partner is supporting you also in that degree, making sure that it's equal. You know, like, I shouldn't have to ask you to take out the trash every time. Like, if you see it needs to be taken out, take it out. If there's dishes in the sink, wash them, put them in the dishwasher. Things like that, just to make our lives easier. And I feel like that creates a solid household.
Yeah.
Like a functioning household.
I actually just added that to the list.
You did?
Yeah, I wasn't texting. I added it to the list because I think that'll be a good conversation. But down the line, because we got like 1,000 episodes planned, so we're gonna be doing this
to talk about
forever and ever, amen. Because we got a lot.
Yeah. But those are like the 2 most important things, and I don't even know if I really have a top 5, because even in relationships, like our previous episode, we were talking about like the qualities of a healthy relationship. Like, this is like baseline stuff, communication, you know, accountability. Those things are just, those should be understood. And if you are my husband, that should have been established early on. Like, we wouldn't have even gotten to this marriage part if that part wasn't established. Right. So it's like, that's a given. But I guess because you're creating a new life with your significant other, like, household functioning is very important. Because one thing I've learned in my relationship that I had, you really don't know somebody until you live with them. I really, really feel like that. Like, That's why it's so important to me now to live by myself, establish what I want in my own home, how I want to. Because once you live with somebody for the first time, you learn so much more about them. You can be with them, and we were together for years prior to that. But the moment we moved in together, it was like, whoa. There's a lot I didn't know about you, kid. Like, it's wild. So, you know, that stuff needs to be, if you guys can come together as one single organism in a unit in your home, and even in your relationship outside the home, you got it, dude. I feel like you've found your match made in heaven, because just, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
For now.
For now. But that's the most important thing, I think, for me. Because, like I said, life is hard, and I can do the stuff I'm doing right now anyway.
Yeah.
Adding value to my life will just make it so much better. And then vice versa, you know, like you have to, it's a give and take. So the same value you want someone to add to yours, you have to add to theirs. It's the same way around. So if you're my husband, we need to have that down pat. So So what about you? What do you feel about that? What's your take?
What's my take, or what are my attributes or characteristics?
Your attributes.
Or whatever we're calling it.
Yeah.
Supportive, a leader, and I don't mean just like you do what I say. Like, no, you need to actually, if we're gonna have a family together, you have to lead and really be a man of like honor and integrity and doing the right thing and putting others before yourself. Like, you have to be a true leader in every sense of the word, not just, again, I'm a man. Like, no. Come on.
I can do it.
No. So, supportive, a leader, a provider, and I mean that in every sense of the word. And yes, financial is a part of it too. Not to say you have to take care of my whole life and take care of me and support me forever and ever, amen. But there needs to be some sort of, where I lack, you can pick up the slack, and vice versa. Like, if you're lacking, you lose your job, you whatever, I need to be able to,
I got you.
You know, but you have to put me in position to do that. I'm not going to do that for you if I can't get the same thing in return. I'm sorry, I'm just not. If I don't feel like I have a support from you, and if times are hard, I can rely on you, why would I overextend myself beyond supporting like children, of course, but like if it's just the two of us,
like dependence.
Yeah,
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, but if it's the two of us, I'm not going to overextend myself to give you a level of support that I don't feel like you're giving to me. And I'm beyond that whole, well, you teach people how to know. No. You can't teach people certain stuff. Either they are that person or they're just not.
Or they're not.
Period. You can't teach people that.
Amen.
Like, either you're going to be,
and that's why
a
people get
solid
stuck in
dude.
situations for too long, because, or keep waiting for their significant other to change, or he's getting there or she's getting there, and it's like,
and I'm not saying, I'm not
holding on
saying
to that
that
anticipation forever. But also, when they show you who you are, believe it.
Yeah.
Believe it.
And I'm not saying people can't learn the correct way to love you. That's not what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, certain people, either you're solid or you're not. You gonna ride or you're not. You gonna be there or you're not. Like, sometimes
and they have to want to.
That just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, a provider. Honestly, when I have children, I don't want to work. I would be a stay-at-home mom. I'll cook. I'll clean. I'll make sure the kids are straight. Whatever.
I don't cook. I don't clean. Sorry.
But I am gonna cook and clean though.
Let me tell you how I got this one. Sorry.
I need to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to support our family. And I don't have to stress about that, because I already got, being a mom is hard. I hear from what I hear. I mean, I'm a dog mom, and that shit is hard by itself. But being a mom is hard from what I hear, and it makes it easier if you have a partner who is going to support you in the way that you need to be supported, and can take that load off of you so you can focus on the kids.
Yeah.
So, supportive, leader, provider, emotionally available. You can't be so emotionally stunted that my emotions scare you. I'm emotional. It just is what it is. I got my own mental health stuff going on. You have to be able, seriously, you have to be able to deal with that and be able to communicate with me and understand what my needs are to get the most effective response out of me at that time, and then vice versa. You have to be able to communicate with me, this is what I need, and we have a dialogue about it to get to the same page. You can't be emotionally unavailable and expect for me to just be on that. No, I'm not gonna be like
and
that.
I'm telling you, this
like
is what I need from you, so you should be able to provide that as I provide what you tell me you need. So
you wanna know my 5th attribute?
mm.
Good in bed. No, I'm kidding.
Huh?
Good in bed.
Oh yeah,
I was kidding.
you got to have that, baby.
I was kidding.
No, she wasn't.
I wouldn't say that for public
Can you
consumption.
imagine having a husband that wasn't? All right then. So, with that being said,
I opened a door that I wasn't prepared to walk through, and that's
but it's
my
true.
fault.
It's true. I
That's
mean,
my fault.
you should. That's part of marriage. That's part of that. You need to have a healthy sex life.
Yeah, but not a top 5 attribute for sure. I think
No,
what is
but
it? Supportive,
it's important.
provider, leader, emotionally available.
There's also another one that I wanted to add whenever you're finished, because I remembered that was the last one, but I was.
I feel like the biggest thing for me is dependability, and maybe that goes into being a leader and a provider, depending on who you ask. I don't know, but I feel like being dependable is important. I need to know that come hell or high water, I can depend on you, because I know the person I am and the type of wife that I'm gonna be. Come hell or high water, you can depend on me for anything. Like, definition of ride or die, it's a picture of my face in the dictionary by ride or die. And if you know me, you know what I'm saying is true. So I need somebody who matches that energy.
Yeah.
The rest of it we could figure out. We could figure out if the sex is trash. We could figure we could figure all those things out.
You can figure that out.
It's 2023. It's classes. I'm sure it's YouTube videos that talk about it.
Now, I don't know if you will.
I think that's debatable, but that can be look. I feel like Medea over here.
Medea.
When she was on the.
Oh, she was calculating. And oh my god, yes. And I didn't tell you he hit.
Exactly. That's how I feel. What was it? Bad sex.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add that to the list.
Yeah.
Just for y'all.
That was beautiful.
What was?
Perfect.
What was the one that you wanted to add?
Oh yeah. So from before, I know that
Shelly,
take like 5 that we did. Submissive. I know that. Y'all, my dog.
She's going in. Stella.
Oh, Lord.
Hey.
But so submission. You distracted me. Submission.
She was going
hard. You know, a lot of men now, they expect their women to be submissive, but doesn't really give them a reason to. So a man has to show me that it's okay for me to be submissive, because I like to say that I'm an alpha female, but I don't even feel like I'm an alpha. I think I'm more like a beta. Because if you give me the room to be submissive to you, I don't have any problem with that. I feel like an alpha is just like, no. And yes, as of right now, I do feel that way, because the men that I had dated, they're not meeting the requirements that I have for our like a relationship or a potential relationship for me to submit to them. So to them, yeah, I seem like I'm just like that woman that just doesn't want to submit to a man, but it's just like you're not giving me reason to. So, you know, if you take care of me and you give me the and when I say take care of me, I mean in all aspects. Make me feel secure, wrap me in your love and wrap me in your security and your protection, and really make me feel like I could literally trust you with my life and how we grow together as a relationship, and like you got my back in all types of ways, then that allows me to want to be submissive to you. If I can't get that, then no, you're not getting any type of submissive anything from me, really. But as my husband, you know, jumping off what Monty is saying, like leading, I do expect my husband to lead. But as he leads, I have to be able to trust. I have to be able to trust that he's going to lead us into the right direction. In order for me to do that, I feel like I have to be submissive. In order for me to be submissive, you have to make me feel like it's okay to be submissive. So that's also another important, you know, attribute. I'm sorry, my dog is like literally like she's scratching her back with the table and it's cracking me up. But that's just a very important, also a very important attribute that I need from my husband, because I do feel like, you know, and it's different for it's different for everybody, but I do feel like for me, I would want my man to lead. I think that that's something that I'm okay with. I'm definitely comfortable with that, and you know, in my family, you know, line it's normal for us. So, but within reason. You don't be submitting out here to no scrub. So that's just what it is. But definitely submission under the right circumstances is definitely important. So
I think we need to have a conversation at some point about the strong, independent woman and what that looks like in today's society. Because I actually saw another podcast, and the girl, I didn't like the podcast because I feel like, okay, I'm gonna just say it. It was a group of black men, and every episode that I saw, all they had on the podcast were white women. Nothing wrong with interracial, nothing wrong with getting the perspectives of different races, but I feel like to understand, to have certain dialogues.
What were they speaking on black women?
No, but it was like strong, independent women and that mindset of being a strong, independent woman and why women feel the need to be like that. But it's like, I feel like the experiences are different. White women feel the need to be strong and independent for whatever reason they feel, and I can't speak to that because I'm not a white woman. But I know for black women, there is a laundry list of reasons why we feel like we have to be strong and independent and can't submit to men.
We have to overcompensate.
Yeah.
We have to overcompensate.
So I just,
for that. So
don't love that podcast. I don't remember the name of it. If I did, I won't tell y'all because it's not important. But it makes me think about the submission conversation and why, and this could be another conversation we have at a later date, but why it's harder, I think, for black women to be submissive. Because I think that there is something to be said about that. It's one thing to be a submissive woman in general, and there are people who are like that, and that's okay. But I think to be a black woman and be submissive in today's day and age is very different, and it's very hard, because realistically, as a race, I guess, as a race, we'll just say, there are not many. You don't hear, I'm not going to say that there aren't many because that may not be true, but you don't hear about as many strong, good black men. Up until recently, the narrative was black men are deadbeats, black men do this, black men do that. Like, there was not a whole lot of positive conversation around that. And I feel like a big part of it, the reason that that narrative has changed has been because of black women. Uplifting our black men and having those conversations and encouraging them and being those people. And so to turn around and have some of the same black men not give that same support to black women, it almost makes you feel, okay, well, how can I be submissive? Because I just did all this uplifting for you, and you left me for the white girl. And again, no offense. I'm not trying to be offensive, but that is a reality as a black woman. You do all these things for these men and don't get the same thing in return, and so then they wonder why you have to be the strong black woman or the angry black woman. And it's just like there's no conversation as to why that is the way it is. So I think to be submissive, there's an art to it, but it all goes back to feeling secure enough to be submissive. I think for a lot of black women at some point in their life, the experience has been, I don't feel safe enough to be submissive with you. Even if you are my husband, I don't feel safe to be submissive with you for whatever reason. And again, I keep emphasizing black women because that is what we are. I can't speak for what a white woman or a Hispanic woman or an Indian woman or an Asian woman feels. I don't know because I don't have that purview. All I can speak from is the lens of a black woman. I get I'm bright. I know we light over here. But we are black women at the end of the day. And so that's the lens that we're going to speak through a lot of times. And it's not to be offensive. It's just part of the reality.
It's our experience. It's what we know.
Yeah, it's part of the reality.
And then, you know, I really, really do want to do an episode with that, because not only is the experience just so much more detrimental for black women,
It's very different.
These black men, and I'm gonna hurt a few feelings, that's okay. Y'all forget where y'all came from.
Some of y'all.
The ones that it applies to, you know. The ones that doesn't apply to, it'll roll off your shoulders because it doesn't apply to you.
Right.
But some of y'all black men forgot where y'all came from. Like a whole black woman didn't raise you and bring
Right.
you up to the man you are today.
That's another conversation, though. At some point,
But
we
that's
got to
where
look
it
at the
starts.
mamas.
That's
But
where
at
it
some
starts.
point, we got to
And so
look at the
that's-
mamas too,
Right,
because
right. But that's where it
sometimes-
starts. Oh my gosh, we're gonna go on a whole tangent about this because now
No, for sure.
I'm lit up. I'm lit up.
sometimes we got to look at the mamas. Because Miss Shirley, you know good and well, you raised Devontae to act like that.
But
whether you
sometimes-
wanna admit
but
it or
sometimes
not.
that's not even the case. Sometimes, and the thing is, okay, so for argument's sake, and the only reason why I'm saying it like this because I'm gonna use myself as an example, right? So, both of my dad and my uncle married outside their race, right?
I had to think about it for a minute. 'Cause I was like, wait, your dad did? You know who I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about your mom.
Oh.
That's why I was like,
no.
no, you
So-
did it.
So my mom is white. My dad married my mom. You know, had us. Thank God. You know, like I'm thankful to be here and stuff like that, and that's fine. And so and even my aunt did. My aunt's first husband was a white man. I don't know if I ever told you that.
Okay.
So technically, all of them married outside their race. And the cultural difference is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane, y'all. And I know that everybody has their own experience, and it's not like that with everybody, but it is. And I wonder. And my grandmother is a saint. My grandmother is my light. She is my world. She is my heart. So it's like I wonder, like, what it would have been had my dad married within his race. If my uncle would have married within his race. Nothing wrong with it. I'm thankful for how things turned out because this is my family, this is my life, this is my legacy, my cousins. Everything is great. But I do have to ask that question because, you know, I feel like it would have been different. My uncle, he married my aunt, who is Venezuelan, and had my cousins, and so my dad married my mom and had me and my two brothers. So it's like but then I look at my cousins now, like, you know, my cousins, my aunt's kids, you know, and their situation is a little bit different. So it's like the comparison of the two, you really have to look at it on a cultural perspective because culturally, in my experience, my mother's side of the family are not close. They're not close. And I know I'm going on a tangent right now, but I feel like that kind of needed to be said because that's where it gets.
But I feel like even at some point, you and I could have a conversation about it because just the reality is, even growing up and becoming, you know, women, our experiences in some ways are different. Yes, we're both considered black women, but there is still that cultural difference because you have a whole side of your family that I don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Both of my parents are black. Now, obviously, yes, we're mixed and, you know, we got other stuff in us, yes, but we're black.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even our experiences growing up in some capacities are a little bit different. And at some point, we could even have a conversation with Jordan and Cam because my sister and her cousin, but the closest thing she has to a sister, we're all black women, but they're darker
Our
complexion.
our
And
perspectives
so
are different
our
than theirs.
perspectives are different from theirs are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at some point,
I like that.
we could have a conversation about that as well. I think that would be good.
Especially having the different perspectives because I know, you know, it's just us two and what we have. And yes, like our perspectives are different and, you know, it's like every experience is different and, you know, but the thing is, like, I was raised by my dad's side of the family. That's just kind of what it is. Like, and I'm so thankful. I'm eternally grateful for that because I feel like I wouldn't have the type of, I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for them. I'll just say that for now. But yeah, the cultural differences is wild, and like we were saying before, a lot of these men don't really that like a black woman didn't just birth them and bring them into this world and turn around and yes, you're absolutely right. It could have something very well to do with the mother, the family, where it started.
Yeah.
But my grandmama didn't do anything crazy to my dad.
But I don't feel like your dad, and of course I'm gonna monitor what I
He
say.
doesn't. No, my dad. So when I say that, I don't mean that my dad's.
He doesn't act crazy. To
He
black
doesn't.
women.
He doesn't act. His
Yeah.
wife now is black.
Right.
It's not about that. I think it's just because of that. I think he views everything differently. He's older now, so he sees things differently. So I guess he feels that now it's it's a different perspective for him, and he prefers to be within. I guess he. It's like you almost have like tread lightly.
No, sir. It's fine.
He wanted to marry who he chose to marry, and she happened to be a black woman. So they
And
were
that's
able
what it
to.
boils
They were able
down
to
to.
really, I guess, have more in common.
But I feel like it boils down. It shouldn't. I brought up the race thing because there is a stark difference. If you're looking at a relationship, there is a stark difference in this country with how women who are lighter complexioned get treated and women who are darker complexioned get treated. There is a stark difference between the way black men value women of other races sometimes in comparison to how they value black women. But when you take those pieces out of it, who you marry shouldn't matter. And I think it's
No.
crazy that black women get so much backlash for dating and marrying outside of their race. But it's like, y'all aren't doing what y'all are supposed to do within my race. So the race thing shouldn't matter. And that's not the point that we're making, that race is an issue.
Yeah, no.
But the difference in the way that black women compared to other races are treated is very stark. And that's just what that is. And if you say it's not, you might be a little deluded because it's very clear.
And everybody has their own, and it's not to say that dating outside your race is a bad thing, or it's actually amazing how beautifully integrated the world is now. So,
And sometimes people outside of your race appreciate you more than than people within your race. So that is not a bad thing.
So it's like if outside looking in, we're in a place right now where this is a good thing. This is a good thing, like we're not segregated. We're not, everybody's, yes, there's still people that are very much so prejudiced out there. We all know that, but we're growing as a community. But the thing is, it's just like our jobs are to uplift each other in our own community first. That's like, prime example. It's like the president, doing damage control in different countries when America's suffering.
Right.
What are you doing over there in,
Right.
it's
It's actually a
country,
great example. That's actually a great example.
and America is suffering. Why are you extending all this money and all these resources to different countries when your people are suffering?
It's the same thing.
It's
when
the
it comes
same
to
thing.
This.
It's the same thing. So hopefully that analogy gives a little bit more perspective. And I know that we went on a tangent, and obviously our goal isn't to offend it. Our goal isn't to offend anyone, and that's not the point of any of this. We're just basically speaking on our own experiences and what we've seen and things like that. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives you some light as to what we're referring to.
Because at the end of the day, we're going to talk about everything. And so some conversations are uncomfortable. It just is what it is. If you don't like it, I guess you can unfriend me, unfriend us, like whatever you feel like you have to do. But we can only speak through the lenses that we have. And the reality is we're both black.
Point blank, period.
As light as we are, I know it's kind of questionable sometimes, but we're black. So a lot of what we speak about is going to be through the lens of a black woman, and that's just what that is. But it's never to, like she said, be offensive or,
Ruffle any feathers.
put anybody down. None of that. None of that is the intent. So apologies if you felt some type of way, but our experience is our experience. And if you look on social media and you have conversations, that's one thing you should try to do. You should try to have a conversation outside of us and us talking. You should have a conversation with somebody who's outside of your race just to see what their experience is. And I think if we did more of that as a society, there wouldn't be half of the problems and the conflicts that we have, because you understand somebody else's perspective through their lens. So that's my soapbox. You should do it. Have a conversation with somebody. Just to try it and see.
Just try it.
Just try it and
There's
see.
nothing wrong with getting different perspective. There's not. You know, a lot of people, they like you said, we only look through our lenses, but sometimes it's good for us to look through the lenses of other people. That way you can understand it and see what, you know, how it is to walk in their shoes. So, we really went on a tangent there. But I feel like it was needed, and I don't really, it was productive. It was a productive tangent. And it sets the precedent for the next time we address this type of stuff in our future episodes. So,
that being said, guys, let's go ahead and wrap up episode 3, season 1. It's fine, everything's fine. The party has just begun.
You'll catch the reference.
Hopefully, if you watch the beginning of the video, you'll catch the
You'll
reference.
catch the reference.
The party has just begun, guys. I hope that you get something out of these talks.
Yes. We are very tired, so excuse us if we rambling.
That is our take on types, husband material, and submission as a Black woman.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video, this channel, whatever it is y'all like, comment, and subscribe up under. We will catch y'all in our next video. Good night, guys.